This was the aircraft that symbolized Britain in World War II. The Supermarine Spitfire was a top-notch fighter, beloved by pilots and seen as a war-winning machine by the public due to its speed and agility. However, this plane actually had a major flaw. The issue was that its engine would cut out during dogfights with German pilots, especially when diving. In contrast, the German Luftwaffe's Messerschmitt Bf 109 fighter plane didn't have this problem. As a result, German pilots often gained the upper hand over British pilots during combat. Britain barely won the Battle of Britain, largely due to this Spitfire engine issue. To secure victory in the rest of World War II, solving this Spitfire problem was crucial for Britain. They put in their utmost effort to fix it. Major engineering firms tried too, but the Spitfire's issue remained unsolved. Finally, a solution came from an unexpected source. A woman named Beatrice Shilling. Her work on the Spitfire was so crucial that she's credited with helping win World War II. The Rolls-Royce Merlin engine issue first arose in 1938. It wasn't considered major then, as pilots rarely dove steeply before the war. But by 1940, during the Battle of Britain's peak, it became a matter of survival, not just a technical problem. An even bigger issue was that the British government had already produced over 20,000 Spitfires before the war. All these planes had the same issue because they all used the Rolls-Royce Merlin engine. The situation's gravity became clear when the British learned that the RAF's other fighters, like the Hawker Hurricane and Bolton Paul Defiant, also used the same Rolls-Royce Merlin engine. They were forced to fight in the heat of World War II against the Allies' most advanced engine-equipped planes. In 1940, during World War II, Nazi Germany was battling France and Britain. When German Messerschmitt Bf 109S entered Allied airspace, RAF Spitfires were sent to intercept them. Pilots used advanced maneuvers like quick dives or climbs to dodge enemy fire. This was a common occurrence in World War II. Planes could engage in combat for hours using these tactics. Sometimes pilots avoided enemy fire by diving down, other times quickly pulling up to target another plane. Imagine if a pilot's engine failed during this life-or-death dogfight. Luckily, British pilots in the Battle of Britain had the home advantage, with close fuel supplies for hours of fighting. German pilots had to cross the channel, fight, then return to base to refuel, a major disadvantage. They may have struggled against the mighty Spitfires. The Battle of Britain ended, but World War II raged on. Engine problems plagued the Spitfire, especially during nosedives. In a steep dive, anything not secured falls towards the nose. This includes blood in pilots' bodies and the fuel in the engine, which moves up instead of down. Sadly, the Rolls-Royce Merlin engine's carburetors had downward-facing fuel outlets, so fuel flowed the wrong way during dives. It used to go towards, that is, away from the outlet. During this, the engine wouldn't get fuel, causing the ship's engine to stop. Or it would jerk until it straightened out again. The world's best minds were tasked to solve this, including Rolls-Royce's Cyril Lofzer and Ray's Eddie Fisher. Both found clever solutions, but both failed completely. In fact, their solutions created a new problem in the ship. Understanding this required deep knowledge of the engine. Surprisingly, in 1940, a woman gave the final and best solution, now known as Beatrice Shilling. In 1938, during Spitfire's first production test flights, Beatrice Shilling rebuilt and tested her favorite machine, a 490cc Northern motorcycle. On this bike, she became the fastest woman motorcyclist on the Brooklands racetrack. Shilling was an amazing racer, but an even better engineer. She had a passion for motorcycles since childhood. Around 1919, when Beatrice was 10, she saw her sisters go on bike trips while she was left behind. So she decided to save money to buy a motorcycle. At 14, she achieved her goal by buying a 2-stroke Royal Enfield. Gradually, she learned to fix her bike and could even disassemble and reassemble it. By 15, she decided engineering would be her true career. But in 1924, society didn't consider engineering a profession for women. In October 1929, with help from the Women's Engineering Society, Beatrice enrolled at Victoria University of Manchester's Electrical Engineering Department, where no woman had studied before. Later, she got a chance to study thermodynamics and mechanical engineering, her true passion. She was an engineer and a woman who raced men on the Brooklands track. This was possible because she modified her 90cc Northern bike's carburetor, boosting its performance. Shilling didn't know then, but her skill would solve a major issue with WWII fighter planes. Before WWII, Shilling had worked at the Royal Aircraft Establishment for 3 years. Initially, her job was just writing technical documentation. By November 1939, promotions led her to become a technical officer overseeing carburetor R&D. When Rolls-Royce engineers couldn't fix the Spitfire problem, Shilling asked to tackle it herself. Initially, everyone underestimated her due to her gender. Surprisingly, Shilling solved the issue in days, leaving authorities amused. But what exactly did she do? She designed a small restrictor plate with a specific hole for the carburetor, largely fixing the ship's problem. The main advantage was that this brass plate could be fitted while on board. It wasn't time-consuming at all. The next challenge was installing it in Spitfires at various bases. Shilling used her bike to travel to different bases and install the solution in Spitfires and Hurricanes. Shilling's solution proved to be incredibly successful. They used modified bikes to install this solution in Spitfires and Hurricanes at various bases. Shilling's solution was so successful, it was named Miss Shilling's Orifice. This small plate largely solved pilots' biggest problem, though not completely. Later, Shilling permanently fixed the issue by designing a new Rolls-Royce Merlin carburetor. After WWII, pilots credited Shilling's ability for their victory. For her hard work, she was awarded the Order of the British Empire, OBE. Post-World War II, Shilling worked on new advanced military projects instead of leaving engineering. By the 1950s, her work expanded to rocketry, ramjets, and guided weapons. In 1955, Shilling became Senior Principal Scientific Officer at the Royal Aircraft Establishment. Beatrice Shilling wasn't just a mechanic or engineer. She was a brilliant character opening new doors for women in engineering. It's believed that without Shilling in World War II, the world map might look different today. We hope you'll like and share. Thank you very much for your kind comments. See you in the next great video.